basically these white Zimbabwean farmers lost all their land in Zimbabwe due to a racially charged land reform program. And what you saw was that a lot of these farmers moved to Zambia to start over again. And so this is where the story picks up, looking at these farmers in Zambia, how much they've contributed to the agriculture, which is absolutely staggering. They've contributed in such an amazing way, but then balancing that with the way that they treat their workers, which is in some ways really racially charged. And so it's a really complicated story. You see a lot of back and forth about, you know, who's right, who's wrong, and maybe no one's right or wrong. And so there's a lot of complication, and you're trying to wade through all of that. And then you're left with a well, what now kind of feeling, you know, because I mean, in some ways, it's an ongoing issue. And the question, I guess, is will history repeat itself? Will these farmers be faced with a situation where Zimbabwe could repeat itself in terms of like losing land and stuff like that? So people that I got to know really well too. So like one of the farmers that I stayed with was Barry. And this is George. He's the guy who the film is actually about, and he's the guy that I met the second half of my first trip down there. And then these were some of the workers that worked for Barry. So this is Jonathan and Joseph. I'd say the majority of my time was spent in Lusaka, which is the capital city where I was taking studies and doing all that. But about a week out of every month, I went to the farm to do my filming and to do my research and my project. You stayed there? And I stayed on the farm for about week installments every month. Yeah, and that was totally different from what living in Lusaka was. I mean, every time you go somewhere else, I mean, Lusaka is city life and city culture, whereas the farm is very much rural culture. One of my fond memories is someone came over to our house and we just randomly started talking. He was actually there for my host father, but we started talking about the film, talking about life and friends and da-da-da-da. We're just talking. It's like, oh, he looked at the time, oh, I got to get back to my house. And in a lot of cultures, what you'll hear is you have the push. So you walk the person part of the way back to wherever they're going. So I actually ended up walking with this guy back to his house, and then we continued talking at his house, and then he walked with me halfway back to my house after we're done talking at his house. So there's such a focus on people, because you don't have a lot of computers, you don't have a lot of electronics, you don't have a lot of these other things, and so the focus is people. Whereas here in the States, you have a lot of, I would call them distractions, I guess. Whereas, you know, I feel like we are relational people, but sometimes we almost forget that we're relational people. So we'll relate with people through text, or we'll relate with people through Facebook, or we'll relate with people through, you know, these other things. And you just lose focus sometimes on what's important and what's not important. Do I miss it? Yeah. Well, I miss them, I think, more so. The people, you know? Because, I mean, a place is a place, and I think it's the people that are important. And yeah, certainly I miss the people.